Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashai, Waharakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth. Peace, salutation, blessings, and mercy to the Lord's elect. Yahweh is the one and only name of who this world calls God, Jehovah, or Yahweh. It's ancient Hebrew. Yahweh means he is, he exists, he to be. Yahawashai is the one and only name of who this world calls Jesus Christ, Yeshua, or anything else. Yahawashai means he deliver or he savior. All right. And those are the two most powerful names you could utter out your mouth. Yahweh and Yahawashai. And that's going to be the key to salvation for the elect. All right, the elect of Israel, whom the true Israelites are us so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. An elect remnant of the nation of Israel will be delivered from the nuclear destruction that's soon to come. All right, and before that will be delivered from many other calamities that's going to hit this earth. And this time we're in, known as Jacob's trouble. We're getting ready to hit the peak of it. All right, where there will be a famine. Let me roll up the windows to eliminate some of this noise. Okay, but the time of Jacob trouble entails of a famine like never seen before globally, right? A global economic crash in which they're going to issue in the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, and that'll be made mandatory. Okay, and there's going to be sedition, uproars, all types of unaliving, and fearful sights. Pestilences, diseases, sickness, plagues going on in this earth. All right. But the elect will be delivered from all of that. As it says in Job, the 5th chapter, he's going to deliver us from 6 troubles, which are those things I'm mentioning. And then the 7th, which is the nuclear destruction, no evil will touch us. OK, so Lord's will, we're of that elect. So I'm starting this video here in Ephesians 6:11, which reads, put on the whole armor of the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashai, because we are in a war. All right. But this is not, as it says elsewhere, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but spiritual, to the pulling down of strongholds, roughly paraphrasing. So we are indeed in a spiritual war, and it can and will get physical at times. OK, so put on the whole armor of Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashai, right? Our protection. It reads that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. All right. And who is the devil? The devil is Esau, Edom, who's been identified in these last days as the self-proclaimed white man. All right. Through the elite banking members, which run this society all the way on down to your average hillbilly Edomite. All right. But in particular, in this time we're in, those central bankers who control these politicians and the way things are ran in this society. All right. And the word devil goes back to diablos, and it means deceiver. OK, so it says that we may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. So let's get an understanding of what the wiles of this devil are. So going into the word wiles, the Greek word is methodia. All right, methodia, and you see method is a word in this word, methodia. But what does it say? Cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery, lie in wait. All right, and that's exactly these are the characteristics of this devil. All right, that's how he deceived all these people on the earth into behaving the way they behave. And that's how he's going to deceive them into taking his mark through cunning arts, deceit, craft, trickery. And he's lying and waiting for the right timing to pounce on these people. All right. So an example of one of the wiles of this devil, because he has many wiles. I came across this article, on the news break. It just popped up. Now it says strongest solar system ever establishes a new worst case scenario. All right. Now, these devils have been talking about these solar storms for some years now. Okay. And it could be, the Heavenly Father, and the angels, the angels manipulating elements and getting busy. But then also we know that this devil is used on the left hand side through his devices, right? Through his technology, through his witchcraft and sorcery. All right. Now, so-called scientists are warning of a real bad solar storm, worst ever, that's getting ready to hit. And as you see, establishes, you got to pay attention to this devil's wording, a new worst case scenario. Now, we know that this devil has a motto called order out of chaos, where he creates chaos to implement his left-handed order. All right. Now, one of the things I highlighted down here, this is what some Edomite is talking about. In quotes, he says, understanding its scale is critical for evaluating the risk posed by future solar storms to modern infrastructure like satellites, power grids, and communication systems. Now, how long in these recent years have they been talking about, or how many times have they brought up the power grid going down, which we know that that's going to happen because that's a part of their plan to bring down this power grid, which entails of no running water, no electricity, right? No sewer system, no plumbing. It's going to be complete chaos, a complete chaotic society, especially in these metropolis cities where we all depend on the power grid, for traffic lights, lights in general. You won't be able to flush a toilet. You turn on the sink, turn on the shower, there's no water that's going to come out. All right. No cell phone usage. All right. So that is going to create complete chaos. And then what is this devil going to do? Come with his order. All right. But see, we're spiritually prepared for this. All right. And there's nothing wrong with, like the apostles and elders always, state, it's nothing wrong if you want to grab an extra few cases of water, some batteries, whatever. But ultimately, we're not going to be delivered by anything carnal. There's going to be something called divine intervention, where the Most High shows miracles for his elect. All right. And that's when our faith is going to be tested, because we're required to wait and depend on the Most High, not to move in haste and run to this devil for help. All right. So our faith is going to be tested during this time, especially those of us who have families. But Lord willing, we are of the elect. The Most High is going to intervene. That's guaranteed. That's promised. And that's where our faith kicks in. We just got to believe that. All right. But the rest of these people who don't believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, who's not covered by his spirit, they're going to react very carnally, and it's going to lead them to do what prophecy says, to kill one another. All right. To bug out and lose their mind, to make hasty, rash decisions that lead to their death. All right. But us who are in the knowing, let me get this precept in Isaiah 33. Isaiah 33 and verse 6. It reads, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is his treasure." So during this chaotic time that we're coming into, this wisdom and knowledge, this truth is what's going to keep us stable, right? Our faith, all right, is what's going to have us delivered. It says the fear of the Lord is his treasure, right? Meaning that, all of our works of faith that we've displayed all the way up until this point we're reading about, there's going to be treasures that we've stored up in heaven that are rained down upon us, that are going to come by the way of miracles and salvation. All right. So let's grab. I had to open the door because it got a little hot in here. So Salakia, if you hear the background noise. I got a couple more precepts. Let's get this one in 2 Corinthians 2:11. It says, lest Satan, and this isn't talking about the spiritual entity, this is talking about his physical counterpart, the Edomite. Lest Satan should get, or you know what, twofold. All right, twofold is really talking about both the spiritual entity, Satan, and his physical counterpart. So lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Right, we're not ignorant of his wiles, his deception, his cunning arts, his sorcery. All right, the Lord has heightened our senses coming into this truth. All right, our spiritual eye is open. All right, where we can see this devil's traps from a mile away. And that's why we do these videos of prophecy and warn about it. All right. And then the only other precept I got is right here in 1 Thessalonians 5. I'll start from the top. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Right, so we're the only ones on this planet who are expecting these things that we read about, that we preach about. All right, everyone else is going to catch them off guard like a thief in the night. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. And that's the thing, this devil, he moves in secrecy, but now it's been revealed through the prophets. But, don't pay attention to dates. When people throw dates out there, on this date, this is going to happen. No, things are going to happen unexpectedly so that the prophecy of a thief in the night can be fulfilled. All right. It says, as true. It says, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Yeah, a woman that's pregnant, on that last trimester, she could be given a due date, where the doctor may say, hey, this day, the baby should come. But in all actuality, it's rare that the baby comes on that exact day unless this devil induces her, to make her water break. But typically that water breaks unexpectedly. She could be in bed. She could be walking around the house, outside the house at a store, and that water just breaks with no warning. And the baby's coming, those contractions start. All right, it says, and they shall not escape. So it doesn't matter if you invested in cryptocurrency. It doesn't matter, what stocks you invested in, how much gold and silver you got stored up, whether you live in the inner city or whether you live off grid in the wilderness somewhere. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is going to come touch you. He's going to visit you through the prophecies, and he's going to unleash this devil upon the wicked of our people. All right, so there is no escape. The only escape is for the elect. All right, now going into the point, starting at verse 4. But ye brethren, right, us hopeful elect that are in this truth, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all children of the light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. And the night and darkness represents the confusion and wickedness of this world that these people are in. All right, we are of the day and of the light, which represents our Lord Yahweh Shai, who has given us his spirit. All right, it says, therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. And that's the point. Let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Because again, these things are going to pop off suddenly, unexpected, which is why we have to always be in the spirit. Okay, so it says, but let us who are of the day be sober, right? Sober minded, not drunk off the distractions and the philosophies of this world, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet, the hope of salvation. All right, and that's the point. See, we have a lively hope of being saved from these times. We in. These people, they don't have that hope. They don't, they're not going to believe on a name to call upon when it comes down to it. They're just going to have the plague of the mind and be destroyed. But us, on the contrary, our trust, faith, and hope is in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So, and he's not going to leave us. All right. He's not going to leave it. Let's end it off with one more precept to that point. The Lord knows who trusts in him, and he's going to deliver them. This is Sirach 2 down to the end of the chapter in verse 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering, and very pitiful, and forgiveth sins, and saveth in time of affliction. And he's going to save his elect in this time of great affliction that we're coming to. All right, but the point being in verse 10, when you look at the generations of old, which are our forefathers and forebrothers, those that trusted upon the Lord were never forsaken. All right, so how much more us in a time like never before? So I'm going to end it there. Hopefully this was edifying and exhorting. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Waharakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the Lord's elect. Shalom.